Our today's topic is muscle tissue and nervous tissue. Every day, every minute, and every second, we move, and we can categorize all these movements into three groups. I will give you the type, and you guys need to think about examples. The first type is when we change a place. Yes, I am talking about locomotion. Well, we locomote when we walk, run, play, and dance. The second type is those movements which move some part of our body without changing a position, like when we eat, draw, or even smile. The third and the last type is invisible movements. You might be thinking, how can a movement be invisible? I am actually talking about internal movements in our organ systems. We absolutely cannot see them. For example, the heart which beats continuously, the digestive tract which pushes the food ahead, movement of the diaphragm of lungs during breathing. There is a common factor that helps all of the movements. That factor actually a muscular tissue. Muscular tissue are the tissue that are responsible for all our movements. Some of these movements are under our control, and these are known as voluntary movements, like writing. We cannot control some other movements. These are known as involuntary movements, like pumping of the heart. Now you know there are two types of movements: involuntary and voluntary movements, based on the control over them. Now we will see structure of the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue are also made up of a group of cells. A single cell of muscular tissue is called the muscle cell or muscle fiber. Muscle cells can contract and relax to cause movements. That's its special quality that only muscles have to contract and relax in this manner. Surely there has to be something special in our each muscle fiber. Well, yes, there is muscle fibers contain special proteins that help in these contraction and relaxation. Hence they are called contractile proteins. Examples of such proteins are actin and myosin. Every muscle fiber contracts and relaxes with the help of these proteins. But a single muscle cells or fiber so small, that is contraction and relaxation coincides in a movement. So many muscle fiber combine together form a functional unit, and that is what we call a muscles. Therefore, the muscle fiber cannot cause a movement, but the muscles can. Now, let's talk about types of muscles. According to their structure, location, and functions, there are three main types of muscles: skeletal muscle or striated muscle, smooth muscle or non-striated muscle, and cardiac muscle. Now we will begin with striated muscles. Striated muscles totally under our control, which means that they help in all voluntary movements. For example, movements like walking, writing, playing, and even speaking, which we do only we want. Striated muscles actually connected with our skeletal system and help in maintaining our posture. For this reason, they are also called skeletal muscles. You may be wondering why they are called striated muscles. To know that, look at the microscopic structure of the striated muscle cells. They are long and cylindrical cells with multiple stripes of striations on them. This is why they are named striated muscles. If you observe carefully, there are multiple nuclei in each cells and all of them are present on the outer periphery of the cells. This is the very unique character of the striated muscle. Interestingly, there are approximately 640 striated muscles and they make up to 40% of our body weight. Though they get damaged while doing physical work, they can repair and regulate themselves. Also increase their size by working out regularly. Moving on to the next muscle type, the smooth muscles. They are so named due to their appearance. Smooth muscle cells are smooth and without any stripes. Smooth muscle cells are spindle shaped with tapering end. There is a single centrally located nucleus. Thus, fibers do not bear any stripes or striations and hence are called non-striated muscles. They are not under the control of our will and so are called involuntary muscles. Smooth muscles are present in the walls of the blood vessels, hollow organs and iris of eye. Out of all muscles, only smooth muscles divide and have the highest regeneration power. Now let's see about cardiac muscles. Does the term cardiac sound familiar? Yes. Cardiac means something related to the heart. This suggests that cardiac muscles present only in the walls of the heart. Due to cardiac muscles, our heart beats continuously. As we can see, just like a striated muscle cells, cardiac muscle cells also have striations, but faint ones. Cardiac muscle cells are cylindrical like striated muscle cells and have a single nucleus like the smooth muscle cells. But their unique character is that they have branches. Different cardiac muscle cells are joined to each other with the help of the disc called the intercalated disc. Due to this disc, stimulus travels into different cardiac muscle cells and allow them to contract simultaneously. These are the only muscles which work continuously from birth to death. But once get damaged, cardiac muscle cells cannot divide or regenerate. That is why we should always take care not to damage them. That's all about cardiac muscles. Now let's see about nervous tissue. Nervous tissue comprises of the nerve cells or neurons. They are the longest cells of the body. Neuron. The units which make up the nervous system are called nerve cells or neurons. Neuron is functional and structural unit of nervous system. A neuron is a nerve cell with all its branches. Neuron is the longest cell in the human body and is about 100 cm long. A neuron is formed of three parts: cyton, dendrites and axon. Now let's see about cyton. Cyton is a typical animal cell type structure which contains cytoplasm and a nucleus. It is spherical in shape and about 4 to 135 μm. It has a granular cytoplasm called neuroplasm, which is enclosed by cell membrane called neurolemma. It also has a large spherical and centric nucleus with a nucleolus. It has all cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi bodies, lysosomes, ribosomes, etc. It has also a number of small sized granules, Nissl granules, which help in protein synthesis. Axon. Axon is actually the largest cell in the body. They are long-sized fibers, they are unbranched and only one in number. They conduct stimuli from cell body towards other neurons, hence it is called efferent in nature. They have one or two additional covering, myelin sheath, Schwann sheath. Myelin sheath around the axon is an insulating and protective sheath. At certain places, myelin sheath is absent and that area is known as node of Ranvier. Schwann sheath covers whole of the axon. It also covers myelin sheath. Axon bears terminal and fibers which end into synaptic knob. Dendrites. Dendrites are small-sized branched fibers, many in number. They conduct stimuli towards cell body, hence called afferent in nature. Types of neurons. On the basis of their functions, neurons are of three types: sensory neurons, association or relaying neurons, motor neurons. Sensory neurons are found in sense organs. Association or relaying neurons are found in brain and spinal cord. Motor neurons are also found in brain and spinal cord. Functions of neurons. Sensory neurons conduct nerve impulse from sense organs to the central nervous system, that is brain and spinal cord. Relaying neuron is present in the central nervous system, receives these stimuli brought by sensory neurons, analyze it, interpret it, and produce a message. Motor neurons conduct this message from central nervous system to the effectors. That's all about nervous tissue. The rest of this lesson will be continued in the next session. Students, I hope you all understood. Thank you, students.